They didn't just jump him, they erased him. And the most terrifying part? Roman Reigns didn't even have to lift a finger. Let that sink in for a second. Jacob Fatu, the most physically dominant, the most unpredictable, the most dangerous man the Bloodline has ever produced, walked down that hallway on Raw, looked Roman Reigns dead in his eyes, and said what nobody in that locker room has had the guts to say. And what happened next was so brutal, so calculated, so cold-blooded, that people are still talking about it. People are angry about it. And if you're not angry yet, stay right here, because by the end of this video, you will be. Welcome to Ring Rumble 1. And today, we are going all the way in. Let's set the scene properly, because context matters here, and if you don't understand the full weight of what Jacob Fatu did backstage on Raw, then you don't understand why what happened to him afterward was so devastating. Jacob Fatu is not just another Bloodline soldier. He is not just another enforcer who Roman Reigns calls up when he needs a body dropped. This man is a Samoan wrestling legend in the making. He is a third-generation warrior with the Anoa'i family bloodline coursing through his veins just as powerfully as it does through Roman, just as powerfully as it does through Jimmy and Uso. And for months Jacob Fatu played his role. He ran through opponents. He did the dirty work. He bled for the bloodline. He sacrificed his body every single night for a man who, when push came to shove, would never extend that same loyalty back. And Jacob Fatu knew that. He felt it. That slow, creeping realization that no matter how much you give, no matter how many bodies you stack, the tribal chief will always see you as a tool, not as family. Never as an equal. Always as a weapon to be picked up, used, and put back down. So on Raw, Jacob Fatu decided he was done being put back down. The moment he walked through that backstage corridor and approached Roman Reigns, the energy changed. People in the back felt it. The cameras caught it. Even Roman, who has spent the last several years perfecting the art of appearing unbothered, even he registered something in his eyes when Jacob Fatu stepped to him. Because Jacob Fatu didn't come with threats. He didn't come swinging. He came with truth. And nothing disarms a manipulator faster than someone standing in front of them and calling out exactly what they are. Word is, Jacob looked Roman in the eye and told him flat out. He told him he was done following orders that only benefited one man. He told him the bloodline wasn't about family anymore, it was about control. He told Roman Reigns that sooner or later, someone was going to make him answer for everything he's done. And then, and this is the part that had the locker room frozen, Jacob Fatu made it clear that he was willing to be that someone. He wasn't asking for a title shot. He wasn't begging for respect. He was issuing a warning to the tribal chief, to his own family, on live television, in front of the entire WWE universe. And Roman Reigns? He smiled. That smile. That quiet, deadly smile that Roman does when he has already decided what's going to happen next and he's just waiting for the board to clear. Roman didn't say a word. He didn't have to. He just looked past Jacob Fatu, gave the faintest nod, and walked away. And that's when the Usos came out of the shadows. Jimmy and Uso, both of them hit Jacob Fatu from behind in that hallway with a ferocity that was genuinely difficult to watch. This wasn't a wrestling match. There were no rules. There was no referee. There was no bell. This was a message being delivered in the most personal, most painful language the bloodline speaks: violence. They didn't just beat Jacob Fatu down. They dismantled him. They slammed him into equipment cases. They drove him into the concrete wall. They hit him with everything they had, over and over again, long after the point where most men would have stopped moving. Jacob fought back because of course he did, because that's who Jacob Fatu is, but 2 against 1, blindsided, in a hallway with no space to maneuver. Even the most dangerous man in the room can be broken down. And by the time it was over, Jacob Fatu was left on that floor like a warning sign, like a message written in Samoan blood for anyone else in that locker room who might get ideas about standing up to Roman Reigns. The tribal chief never threw a single punch. He never had to. Now here is where it gets deep, and this is the part I need you to really think about, because this is not just a wrestling storyline anymore. This is storytelling at its highest level, and WWE deserves credit for how layered this has become. Think about the Usos' role in this moment. Jimmy and Uso have had their own painful journey with Roman Reigns. Uso literally stood up to Roman. He chose his brother over the tribal chief. He fought Roman. He left the bloodline. He became one of the most beloved babyfaces in WWE because of it. And now here he is back inside that orbit, back doing Roman's bidding, back being used as the enforcer against a man who is essentially doing exactly what G himself did not that long ago. Does that not make your blood boil? Does that not make you want to scream at your screen? Jacob Fatu stood up and said the same things Uso once said, felt the same things, reached the same breaking point. And the Usos, the same men who know what it feels like to be manipulated and discarded by Roman Reigns, became the instrument of his punishment. That is either the greatest act of self-betrayal in recent WWE history, or there is something else going on here that we're not seeing yet. And either way, the implications are massive. Let's talk about what this means for Jacob Fatu going forward, because I refuse to believe this is the end of his story, and anyone who thinks Roman Reigns just permanently buried Jacob Fatu needs to think again. Here's the thing about Jacob Fatu: the man is built different. Not just physically, although let's be real, he is an absolute specimen of destruction in that ring, but mentally, psychologically, Jacob Fatu has a darkness to him that Roman Reigns cannot control, cannot predict, and frankly, should be terrified of. Because Roman controls people through hierarchy, through manipulation, through making people feel like they need the bloodline to survive. That psychology only works on people who want something from you. Jacob Fatu doesn't want Roman's approval anymore. That ship has sailed. That bridge didn't just burn, it exploded, and Jacob Fatu was the one holding the match. And a man with nothing to lose, a man who has already crossed the line of confronting the tribal chief in front of everybody, is the most dangerous kind of enemy you can make. Roman Reigns has made very powerful enemies before, but most of them wanted the title, wanted the spotlight, wanted the glory. Jacob Fatu just wants blood now, and that is a different animal entirely. I want to take a moment to address the people in the comments who were saying Jacob Fatu got what he deserved, that he should have known better than to step to Roman. I want to address you directly. Are you serious right now? Jacob Fatu did everything right. He was loyal. He showed up every week. He brutalized opponents on command. He never complained publicly. He never undermined Roman in front of the group. He was the perfect soldier. And the moment he dared to express one single grievance, the moment he stood up as a man and said this isn't right, the response was to have him ambushed 2-on-1 in a hallway? That's what he deserved? That's the lesson being taught here? No. What this moment teaches us is exactly what it's designed to teach us, that Roman Reigns doesn't lead through inspiration. He doesn't lead through loyalty. He leads through fear. And the second fear stops working, the second someone like Jacob Fatu stops being afraid, Roman doesn't know what to do except escalate the violence. That is not the behavior of a strong leader. That is the behavior of someone who knows their control is slipping, and you know it's slipping, because think about the optics here. Think about who was watching that beating go down backstage. Every single person in that locker room now knows what Roman Reigns does to family members who speak up. Every single one of them just watched a man get destroyed for having the audacity to tell the truth. Some of them will be afraid. That's what Roman wants. But some of them are going to look at Jacob Fatu on that floor, and instead of fear, they're going to feel something that Roman Reigns cannot afford for them to feel. They're going to feel inspired. Because Jacob Fatu didn't win that fight. He didn't walk away standing, but he stood up. He spoke his truth to the most powerful man in WWE, looked him in the eye without flinching, and made Roman Reigns play his hand in front of everyone. That is not a defeat. That is a spark. Now the question everybody needs to be asking, and I want you to drop this in the comments right now because I genuinely want to know what you think, is this: where do the Usos go from here? Because Jimmy and Uso just crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. They didn't just jump a random rival. They jumped blood. They jumped a Samoan brother who was standing up for the same dignity they once stood up for. They jumped a man who, in a different version of this story, could have been their ally in breaking free from Roman Reigns' control. And the worst part? Somewhere in the back of both their minds, they know it. You watch the footage back. You watch Uso's face during that beatdown. There is something there. A flicker. Something that looks like doubt, looks like conflict, looks like a man who is performing an action that his body is carrying out but his conscience is screaming against. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Usos are fully bought in. Maybe family loyalty to Roman has completely overwritten everything else. Tell me what you think in the comments. Are the Usos gone for good, or is there still a version of this where they turn on Roman and stand beside Jacob Fatu? Because that match, Usos and Fatu versus Roman and whoever Roman assembles, that is a WrestleMania main event waiting to happen. That is money. That is history. Let me leave you with this. Jacob Fatu walked into that confrontation knowing there was a chance this happened. He didn't do it because he thought he would win the night. He didn't do it because he had a plan. He did it because there comes a point where self-respect matters more than self-preservation. Where you would rather be destroyed standing on your feet than live one more day on your knees. Roman Reigns thought he was sending a message by having Jacob Fatu beaten down in that hallway. But the message Jacob Fatu sent by getting up even slowly, even barely, even with the cameras barely catching it, is louder than anything Roman's fists could ever say. This war is not over. It has barely even begun. And when Jacob Fatu comes back, and he will come back, Roman Reigns is going to wish he finished the job. Drop a comment, share this video, and let me know, are you riding with Jacob Fatu, or do you think Roman Reigns' grip on the bloodline is still unbreakable? I read every single comment. Let's talk. This has been Ring Rumble 1, and as always the Rumble never stops.